They got everyone here. Oh my goodness.
Beautiful buddy block there, really showing us how to manage that situation. Someone going for the unhook, someone going for the block, but unfortunately, it doesn't pay off as we're unable to get a body here for our Nia. Wouldn't surprise me if Toddy's going to come in with a for the people play. No, our killer's not going to allow it. A
No
beaver save!
way. Hey, what it do, what it do? It's your boy Q, and welcome back to YouTube, back with some more OCE League action, winding down week number 2 with our matchup here between A1 and Revolution. If you want to catch up as far as the rest of our week 2 action, in case you missed it, make sure you peep that OCE playlist over here on the channel. As far as this matchup, we are going to be getting started on the Cold Tower with the Oni, quickly going to the Blight on the Blood Lodge, Plague on ARP, and then if needed, we're going to be seeing the Cenobite on Wrecker's Yard, and the 5th and decisive set, if needed, will be the Twins on the Suffocation Bit. So a bunch of my favorite DBD killers when it comes to competitive DBD, if y'all haven't seen that tier list video. But don't forget to leave this video a like and a comment. Help us out with that good old YouTube algorithm as we're chasing down 500 subscribers over here on the channel. So make sure you smack that button and then tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody about it, all right? If you're ever wanting to keep up with what OCE has going on as far as their region with competitive DBD, as always, I'm going to leave a link for their Discord as well as their Twitch down in the description below. That way you can come catch these games live, as they do happen every Friday and Saturday night, starting at 6 p.m. Sydney time, which is 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But for now, let's go ahead and get back to some more Week 2 action here between A1 and Revolution. Until we do catch y'all back over here for some more DBD action, don't forget, man, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love hard. All right, y'all? It's your boy Q, signing out. Yeah, I'm super excited. I always love watching me some good old Oni gameplay. It's like that back and forth between the killer and the survivors, right? It's like the survivors obviously early are going to try the best that they can to try and prevent those early hits so you don't have that like early start to the power. But once that thing starts, I love watching how much some players can really turn a game. We've seen some Oni games where it looks like it's completely in the survivor's favor, one use of the power, and then it's, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 people up on a hook. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then in the opposite of that as well, Key, you know, you've seen teams that deny the power for so long, and then they get hit, and again, as you said, it can be just a massive snowball once the Oni gets his power. But we did see a couple of weeks ago, Golden Wolves managed to get an out in a 2v1 with a 3-gen up the main side of the map. So I'm super keen to see if we've got one of those high-intensity 3-gen endgame situations, because I know that they're always so fun to watch. Maybe not to be part of, but definitely to watch.
Yeah, the Oni like end games can definitely be very interesting, right? Because a lot of killers are kind of known for one style of play or the other, whether it's kind of the high intensity of your hyper-mobile killers. A lot of people know killers like Twins that be that methodical, slow gameplay in the end. Same thing sometimes with the Plague. Whereas the Oni, it's just kind of depends on the flow of the game, right? Sometimes you're constantly in power because at least someone's bleeding. Sometimes you have where you're really not in too much as far as getting into the power, but you're in constant chase. They're just doing a good job of keeping those pallets down. They're the smaller maps. You're gonna be running right on top of people, forcing people off of gens. So I think this is a really good set to start off like a best of 5, right? Because I feel like it kind of stresses both sides of like your patience as well as your fast movement and communications and rotations as well.
Correct. It's a really, really good display of kind of comp fundamentals, in my opinion, too, because you've really got to be careful with your positioning against Oni when it comes to his power. You know, stealthing out his power, a lot of teams will do that, as well as communications as to where he's going while he's in his power. So here we go. We're kicking it off. We are at the Cold Tower. We do have Sane's debut on Team Revolution as well, coming from a couple of other teams in OCEs now joined Revolution. And I'm interested to see how he goes. I think that he's a bit of a survivor main, but very, very quick find onto Blip here. But Yester doesn't really want to start his chase at Shack, but he does manage to find our Nia. We do have a little bit of a spectator bug here where we've got no grass and default cosmetics as well. So unfortunately, our survivors aren't looking as fashionable as they'd like to. But we're going to continue chase around the shack area, which I don't think he was too keen on doing, considering he tried to leave.
Wait, you mean that this isn't because we have a new groundskeeper here on Cold Tower, just keeping things a little bit more clean around the edges with all the grass? This is a bug? No, I'm just kidding. We're gonna see though, doing a good job of kind of keeping this chase over in this corrupt side of the map, right? This is gonna be really big, especially when we talk about not coming in with the ruin or anything like that to help as far as regression. So because of taking the time over on this side, we are gonna see, yes sir, now moving over into the uncorrupt side of the map. We see at least a dry kick coming out here. This is going to be where the back and forth, as far as if you play too patient and conservative early, dropping those pallets, we're going to start creating some dead zones, because Cold Tower isn't exactly a map that's known for throwing too many resources out your way. We've already at least gotten a couple back towards Shack out of the way, as well, or at least the one back towards Shack out of the way. About like 100 seconds in, we haven't seen a gen pop. Leads me to believe our survivors are probably spread up across multiple gens. We might even see one or two up on this top side pop. Wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I'm just trying to have a look at this corrupt. It looks like a very interesting kind of split corrupt here as well. So a little bit of bad luck for our Oni here. He must have spawned mid-map, giving him not the greatest value from his corrupt intervention, and allowing our survivors to kind of pick and choose where they want to go and which gens they would like to do. But we can see, a small 3-gen if he'd be so inclined to maybe try and play that way and protect that. But we will be continuing chase through mid on Blip. Unfortunately, he's forced to chase Blip. I didn't think he wanted to at the start, but now he's kind of forced to, getting rid of more resources there, kind of monitoring the gens, and looking a little bit indecisive to me.
Yeah, I think the indecision seems to be a little bit more apparent. I think just the biggest reason why, right, is you want to hopefully try and catch somebody out of position, but when we talk about this survivor squad over here, trying to just gonna be doing the exact opposite. I mean, make sure you're keeping plenty of distance. I mean, we can see in that bottom left-hand corner, we're nowhere close to as far as our first use of the power, because we've been able to avoid allowing the first health state change. Now working even at our TNL back here. Of course, this is McMillan, has those longer TNLs in certain portions like we're looking at. And we do see, yes, sir, doing our best Walter imitation vaulting. With the swing and miss. Nice dodge here. Nice bait out, honestly, by Tito. Oh, get stunned, stupid. Plus 10 wood added to the face. Going to be able to build some big distance. Also noticing that our top mid-gen is getting complete. So our survivors, only 2 gens complete thus far. There's the third. I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised seeing a third here relatively soon. It looks like we've done a pretty decent job as far as our gen spread as well. Really, the only 3 gen, quote unquote, left would be those 3 that were corrupt, right?
Yeah, exactly right. And I think what we're seeing here as well is, why we've got we've got our 4th gen popping, but why we see a couple of chase perks usually ran on Oni. Brutal's very common, Bamboozle's very common. I think it's really showing why our killers are bringing those types of perks to the game, because as we can see here, if the survivors know what they're doing, they know what to work with, they know where to go, where to position themselves, there's unfortunately little to no chance of getting an early hit unless you're absolutely cracked with the mind games here. Revolution doing an incredible job to really postpone this hit, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is talking about the patience and being able to, we always see them building distance, not even worried about being conservative about the resources, dropping those things as quickly, I would say as quickly as needed, right? I mean, even we saw in this place, in this case, using a little bit of additional time, but they're not greeting too much. And I think that's because they understand that power spike that we had talked about, the potential of, even if it looks like they're in control now, one good use of the power could change things. There's going to be a swing, and it's good. Right as the gen gets done, the no-ed. That's a big old feels bad, bro. So that is going to be a quick down the ground. That is only a first hook, though. This is going to be up in our top left portion of our map. Not sure if we have a door on the opposite side. I mean, it does look, yeah, I was going to say they probably just take the 3. You were mentioning the chase perks, and I wanted to bring up, because I think that's a really good point that you brought. We know that a lot of times Oni tends to struggle in the beginning of the game. And while we know that the combo of the Scourge Hook with our pop can be good late game. I feel like it's relying on getting a lot of hooks, which just, if that doesn't work, especially once you've already lost your corrupt, you're down to just relying on the no at the end, which is really all we were able to get the value from there, right?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. It's very rare to see, you know, more experienced killers and teams kind of bring those generator aggression perks that rely on hooks, just because it is so difficult in some of these games to be able to get that. So a real loss on value there from that pop and Scourge pain resonance combo. But in the end, we do end up with the kill, and we do end up on 3 stages. It may have actually been a strategy from Saint there to go down to the Noah, denying the blood orbs, just taking the one shot and denying him from getting his power. But we will be moving on to the next match. What are you thinking, Q? What are we gonna see?
Oh man, I mean, if this is when we talk about some of our experienced killers, right? We know that this is going to be someone coming out that's probably going to be very confident on the Oni and only needing to grab a couple of stages. I think we're just going to see a lot of confidence displayed coming out. I would imagine we'll probably. I don't want to sound too much like a Revolution fanboy, but I feel like it's probably going to be. You know what I mean? Like I feel like we're probably going to be seeing at least like a 3K. You know?
Yeah, well, we do have an invite from Saint coming in, and we know that Saint is very much a grinder of Oni. He really enjoys playing him in pubs in 1v1s, and he's really got the Oni down to a fine art, and I think that we will probably see a couple of kills coming in. I'm not sure if he still gets a little bit of killer anxiety, a little bit of nerves happening, but certainly excited to see him show the mechanical skill on the Oni, because he's certainly got it and is ready to give it to us.
Yeah, so we'll be able to see trial number 2 here between A1 and Revolution right after a quick break. All right, let's go ahead and take another trip here back into the fog. Gonna be back on the cold tower. And we are going to be hanging on board with our killer from Revolution here, Saint. And we are going to be seeing a point penalty, I think I had seen, as far as for the for an offering. I believe that's showing up on the scoreboard here, changing just now. So that's going to be why that's changing up at the top of your screen there. Now, just so you know, we're going to be taking this chase back at the shack. You love to see whenever that shack pallet doesn't get thrown right away. The only problem, though, is I think I probably would have done that against the Oni. Unfortunately, we're already giving that power. So we're starting the progress towards that power here, not even a minute into the trial.
Yeah, really good job from Saint there, getting that hit so early. We do see a completely different build as well, focusing more around the end game. And again, we've got Brutal Strength there just to help us in chase. Really good for zoning as we see our first down at 5 gens. Didn't need the Brutal Strength in this chase here yet, but we did manage to do, once again, as we were kind of talking about, Q, just the ability to do some mind games and try and force that survivor into the wrong position and enabling you to get that hit, which I think Saint's really good at. He's going to get some blood, and wouldn't surprise me now if he takes a trip on over to the other side of the map.
Yeah, we are going to see, at least real quick, going to be getting a quick dry kick into this gen. I feel like you might even be able to hold on to this power for just a moment. You can kind of patrol the 3 closer gens over here without having. Oh, that's bold, going for a save just
sneaky.
like that with Saint right there. Gonna go ahead and go into the demon dash. Gonna see if we can find our other survivor. That's going to be the ace. Not going to be able to find connection with the flick here. Now still staying around the same tile. Oh no, that's gonna be a down here at this point. It is yes, down in the pallet space. And that sounds just like something actually I would say in a pub game. Anyways, we are now going to be seeing hook number 2 back here on the shack side of the map.
Yeah, really nice work from Saint again. I think he's really in control of this area up here. He does have a couple of gens close up here, but they're not really kind of more of a 3 gen, I think. But they are definitely within his reach as Kazan Yamaoka. It wouldn't surprise me, like you said, Q, if he tends to kind of hang out up this side of the map now that he's got a hook there. He's got all of the gens regressing quite well, and you know, main building and everything that's got to offer down there for our survivors. It wouldn't surprise me if he wants to kind of stay away.
Yeah, I feel like, especially with not only just getting the one early down, but then the second early down as well, which then, of course, would have required people needing to be reset, which means they're not working on gens. You can kind of just vibe in this area. Oh, Adam able to force the lock onto the pallet space there from Saint. Going to at least be able to avoid getting horizontal here for just a little bit. That is going to be another survivor caught out in the open, unfortunately, though. With about half of our power time still left, Saint is going to go ahead and leave the slug, doubling back, checking in on our hooked survivor. And I don't know if we've got anybody coming in yet. Actually, looks like we're just going to have this survivor hanging in with those auras. You actually have I thought I had enough time to go for the pickup, but now this is going to be a third survivor now on the ground.
Yeah, really, really nice spot for Saint to be in. A very difficult one for our survivors, though, as we've now only got one full health upright survivor who I'm sure they want to get that save, but I'm just not sure if Saint's going to allow them. He's going to be looking for some more blood to pick up. He's not in his power at the moment, but he's definitely going to be taking these stages, and it wouldn't surprise me if he tries to get his power and just really monitor this area.
Yeah, I mean, at this point with this hook being so close to your other one too, I mean, you kind of have that freedom. Unfortunately, I don't think, I was going to say, I don't think we have a chance at this save behind us. That timer is going to expire, but this is another fresh hook here, which gives you those, of course, valuable points. And you have a general idea of where these two might be. I'm not sure if they're going to go for the reset right away, or maybe you have one survivor trying to loop around the outside to get to the save. We did see some blood orbs as well as those pools of blood on the ground, so we know we've got a survivor somewhat close. Of course, that does mean that's the Nia as well. You see, as we're working our way around this loop, those blood orbs are dropping, and we are going to be ready to use that power here. The question is, do we go for the hook, or do we jet straight across the map? But it looks like we're going to go ahead and jet straight across the map and leave the slug.
Yeah, a bit of unfortunate timing there on the survivor's part, managing to get that unhook and disclose their whereabouts as soon as Saint got his power. So, really nice hit there from Saint, putting our Blight on the floor. Saint's not happy with this, though. He wants the 4K now, and he's looking to get it. He is going to head back over to the other side of the map and try and find the Atom, which he does, looking for the 4K at 4 gens. He manages to get it, unless we have some type of a stealthy slug type of play.
Yeah, now at this point, just going to have to locate these slugs here. Talking about a 4K, only 1 gen complete. Saint really coming out here. I mean, obviously had been able to earn set point number 1 relatively early into this trial, but I think Saint was more worried about really trying to set the pace for the rest of the matchup, right? I mean, we saw multiple times, not even worried about just the stages. I mean, we even go for the slug here at this point. It's that extra pressure requires now the unbreakable to have to come into play, which now means it's 1 less second chance perk. It is nice to see, though, that our survivors here are still fighting back. They might be able to at least fight a little bit. Maybe you get yourself 1 extra gen, a little moral victory or something here, because you are going to have to return right back out onto this next trial for the Blight as well.
Yeah. I'm also really surprised that A1 actually picked Oni and Coal Tower, so they may have just been unaware of Saint's mechanical skill and his experience on the Oni. I know that, Revolution have got very, very impressive Nurse players and Blight players, but they may have just been caught unaware by the power of Saint's Oni.
Yeah, and I mean, it is definitely on full display here. I mean, we're talking about just has had complete control from the word go. All gas, no brakes, even seeing it right here, right? Staying with the power, gonna get full value out of that Lion's Fang, going for the slug, using the entire duration of this, most of the duration of this power here, to at least get yourself the 2 downs in the slugs. And it looks like what Saint's trying to do here is, again, not only set the tone as far as for his side of matchmaking, but trying to see if you can kind of put A1 on the back foot early with a very strong showing in set number 1.
Correct. And with a game like this, our survivor team over at A1, they're going to be feeling a little bit overwhelmed at this point. They're going to be thinking and talking together about strategies of how to pick themselves back up. So a real tough place to head back into survivor again as we go to our Blight on Blood Lodge game after this one. But hopefully they'll be able to shake it off. It's just a warm-up game. Plenty of sets left, plenty of matches left. bit of a firecracker coming in there. Unfortunately, not getting the blind. I was going to go for a sneaky play, but unfortunately, it just didn't work out.
Yeah, not going to be able to pull that here. And that does mean now at this point, the only survivor left standing in the field of play is going to be the Dwight. Does look like Saint has seen them back here by the shack. Now going to go into that demon dash through the actual shack itself. Going to go ahead and get rid of the shack pallet. And now we've talked about, starting to create some of the dead zones back here. We've already thrown quite a few of these resources. Not sure if we'll be able to make it back around. Yeah, this is just going to be the down here. We do see Dwight telling Saint to hold that, but at this point, just still going to need to be locating these slugs. And I'm not sure what resolution y'all are watching this in chat, but this is indeed look like a 4K to me.
And a 4K to me as well there, Q. Very, very impressive gameplay from Saint and such a strong start. Really, really well done. And hopefully he can get these Saints as he does a little Vindy 1-2-1-2 on there. That's fine. We will be finding a hook. There will be no hatch. There will be no doors, no escapes for our survivor team in A1. There will simply be all 4 survivors sacrificed at the hands of Revolution's Oni.
And that's with Saint, essentially really being a 2-perk Oni, right? Like, you got no value out of your No Way Out. I mean, maybe you could say you got a little bit of info, I guess, from the auras from the first gen popping, but I honestly just Saint, as you talked about, really showing that mechanical, the micro as well as the macro there, really impressive score. Now it's going to really be up to A1, like you had talked about, needing to get together in this break here, making sure that you can kind of pull the heads together. I mean, we're talking about a score in set number 143-5, so going to be really interested to see how A1 bounces back, especially since they are going to be back out right on the survivor side. So we will be back with set number 2 between Revolution and A1 after a very quick break.
And we are back on the Blood Lodge. We have Saint now on the Blight. So early, I can't even do an intro without him finding someone and hitting them. But we are going Revolution's Killer against our team of survivors in A1. We do have a very powerful double speed Blight. Saint, of course, as well as being the master of the Oni, is a master of the Talbot Grimes, which we're going to see here.
Through the dead hard. Absolutely. Saint, that was absolutely disgusting. Really nice play there to be able to get through the dead hard, waiting just long enough to wait for those iframes to be done in the dead hard to then go into the lunge to be able to get the down. This is going to be an early down here. We're talking about 45 seconds, also with the ruin still being in play as well, and a middle hook on top of that. Saint really, really looking good. We're going to see a really quick unhook coming in, though, which is going to cause Saint to double back. No rest for the wicked here. Does look like might even be trying to work on the tunnel out process immediately here, really trying to keep that pedal down. Remember, we just saw Saint have a very, very impressive performance on the Oni, looking to just continue that pace here in the Blight set.
Yeah, really nice work going for that tunnel so early. I think that's definitely the right move. We don't have decisive strike on the Nia, so that obviously allows him to get straight back on her tail once she's removed from that hook again. No gens done as yet. We are just very, very early into this game. We have appeared to have lost the ruin though, so looking a little bit better for our survivor team, but now we have just released the power of Pop Goes the Weasel, which we are going to see applied to this middle gen with a large amount of progression here as we follow the ace in, maybe to the unhook, but it wouldn't surprise me, if he changes his mind and maybe goes for a different play to get that Blight away from the hook. We know that his intentions are to get this Nia out as soon as possible. It would put him in a really, really, really good position.
Yeah, I just worry, though, that the ace might be the closest player, right? I mean, we know that the middle gen was the one that had a whole lot of progress. We know that the chase had been brought back this way, which leads me to believe the survivors are probably working on some gens on that top side of the map. So it looks like they may even be really trying to prioritize the gens over friends. I mean, we see a couple survivors heading away from this area here. I mean, Saint able to move into the 3v1 before even allowing Agenda Pop really displaying a whole bunch of control here.
Yeah, a beautiful hit there through the window, which we'd expect from Saint and his New Zealand internet. We're going to unfortunately take another down at the TLs. We will see Zombit put on his first hook, giving a couple extra points for Saint, who is very, very much in control of this game.
And now, I mean, we do see generator number 1 popping off in the distance, but it is across the map. And we also see the ace taking a little bit of a shift W towards the shack, not too far west, still hanging out around the truck here. A little bit of a bump collision here, trying to figure out around Pride Rock itself. Does look like, though, we may indeed have that deliverance over here. We do see the broken status. We'll have to wait for the next couple seconds, see if it's that or a possible renewal, but we are going to continue with our ace around the L, able to get a very nice slide to get the first hit, though.
Yeah, I don't think Saint should get too used to those. We'll be seeing that patched in the upcoming patch. So whilst it's lovely to see here, now don't get too used to it because we're not going to be seeing it for much longer as we see another down here. Saint in so much control, applying so much pressure to these survivors. Another tag. We do have Thanatophobia, so of course any tags that he can get is certainly much welcome to him. But we are going to see our ace now be popped up on a hook. Somewhere in mid, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's we've done a really good job of making sure that we use these mid hooks first. Allows us to really take chase wherever we need from there, whether it's been up to this corner back by Shaq. I don't think we've taken chase at all up towards main, and this is going to be really tough. You can go ahead and leave the slug. You don't have to worry about the deli because we've already seen that come in. And now I can't help but wonder if maybe potentially an Unbreakable would be the only real chance that we have at this point, because I don't think there's enough distance between where we're at to be able to get to the unhook here for an injured survivor.
Yeah, definitely. And just the way that the ace kind of was downed and then was laying on that hill made me think that he was in fact the one with the Unbreakable, which would mean that the Unbreakable is on the hook right now and there's no second chance perks to allow our survivors to continue the game. But Saint, again, just incredible. I think, a lot of people when Blight was put on the Blood Lodge, a lot of people were a little bit worried thinking about mid and all of the pallets and kind of jungle gems around the edge that he's got to work with. But once again, just really showing the power of positioning. I think if your positioning is not good, you greed the pallets a little bit too much, it really can end up in a bit of trouble for the survivor team.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, and I'm not sure if it's an unpopular opinion or not, but I've actually been truly enjoying watching. You had talked about, we've seen Blight moved on to the Blood Lodge, in some other scenes as well, and I've thoroughly enjoyed kind of watching. I feel like it allows certain Blights to really be able to show their dominance. It also allows, as far as, you can show good bump logic in the middle, working around some of what I think people thought was going to be a tough part of the map to work around, and I think, again, that just allows, the cream to rise to the top, so to say. It really allows the best to kind of separate from the rest. And when we talk about killers in the OCE scene, I think we can agree that Saint's definitely one of those names that we can definitely throw up there amongst the top.
Yeah, definitely. Just the way that he's improved over the I think the years now that he's been playing. We've been seeing Saint playing CompDBD over in OS for a while. He did start off very, very nervous, and his nurse was always such a joy to watch as he kind of improved and lost the nerves, and now you can just see he's absolutely so confident and really in his element playing killer. But really nicely played by him. Unfortunately, our survivor team not able to get too many points on the board, as we do see 24 to Revolution and just 2 for A1, but we'll switch sides and see what A1's killer can bring and how they respond after a short break. And we are back on the Blood Lodge with Talbot Grimes, about to be committing some Talbot crimes against Team Revolution on the Survivor. We do have Key from A1 on the killer. I'm super excited to see this. I have not seen them play Blight before. I think we're in for a good game.
Yeah, definitely going to have to set the bar high here if you're wanting to take set point number 2. And even if not, I think the big thing with set 2, knowing that this is a best of 5, right? Even if we aren't able to pull maybe the L or pull the W here, if you can maybe just put Revolution on their back foot a little bit, get yourself an elimination or two. We know that the win condition is going to be extremely hard to meet, but if you can at least just build a little bit of that momentum and then slowly work back, right? Then maybe you win set 3. You can't win in the next set, but you can always technically lose in the next set. So if you can just start building a little bit of that momentum, would be big here for you.
Yeah, we did start off our game with a very quick find on Todd and a hit through the shack pallet. Todd really using up a lot of the resources, but managing to stay in this area down here, which I think is really good for the team. He's in the corrupt. You know full well that the other 3 members of Team Revolution are probably split on the gens, trying to push them out, as we do see our first gen now as Todd is still in chase. Not much to work with, but managing to get away and really show this Blight just how a chase should work.
Yeah, I mean, we do see still sticking over in our corrupt side of our map, moving into our 4 lane here. Doesn't have too much to work with, does force a swing here from Key, which is not going to be able to make a connection, and we're going to be seeing our corrupt intervention expiring off of these gens here in about 5 seconds, which does mean we're almost 2 minutes into this trial, which means I would not be too surprised to be seeing generator number 2 popping off relatively soon, off in the distance, able to balance or bring things back here, get the down here onto T-Doge, and this is going to be a basement hook.
Yeah, really nice position to be in. Whilst we do expect to see a couple of gens pop, we may be able to get a couple of stages down here with Todd now being hooked in the basement. Really nice chase from him though, really well played to keep the Blight in this area. The Blight choosing not to leave, not to kind of spread that pressure and get some Thanata value. I think we're going to see him sticking around the shack for a bit. Q, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at being right in the middle of a nice little 3-gen you can play into. You've got your Ruin back on this side of the map as well. I mean, honestly, I feel like you could, with the the lethal rushes here from Key, you could probably even go take a quick peek in on that farther gen, kind of try and keep this 4-gen up as long as possible. However, at this point, we do see 1 survivor now moving into the basement. Going to be a quick tag as far as the M1. Looks like we're going to be trying to go for the trade at least, and might even just allow Blip to sit on the ground here in the basement for a little bit of time. We do see that T-Doge does have time that is borrowed, which means they are going to be able to make it out of our basement as well.
Yeah, a bit of a 1-for-1, which I think kind of necessary in this scenario. Very difficult to kind of get 2 people off the gens and down to make a safe unhook in this case. We do have Todd mending somewhere as we see our 3rd gen pop, and once again I think we're going to see our Blights stick around in this general area. We did see Ruin recently cleansed though, so the killer now has Pop Goes the Weasel available. He did find some scratch marks, but he may be thinking it's a bit of a distraction technique and trying to pull him away from this basement. He chooses to go back instead of find the source of those scratch marks, so really nicely done there. Missing out on the pop value though, but I don't think he's too concerned at the moment, knowing that there's someone dying in the basement.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is you were kind of wanting to see what was going on around you, because we have to remember the first time that we went into the basement, yeah, we basically forced the 1-for-1, right, in the tray. Oh, nice job there. I think Blip had thought we were about to be going into our cooldown, wanted to go ahead and get out of the locker, and instead last second use of another rush to be able to get the down. But what I was going to say is when we went into the basement, it looked like it might have just been a 1-for-1 trade to get that person out of the basement itself, but it also bought enough time for our survivors here to cleanse the Ruin. And I think because of that, Key is worried that every action has a purpose, and I think that was kind of what they were worried about with those scratch marks earlier. And we see still trying to play defense on this slug at this point, possibly worried that the decisive strike is on the deli player, but we do know sometimes the deli is also the unbreakable right there. There's David going to be able to build a little bit distance. Not sure if it's going to really be able to get you too much further.
What? Did he not already dead hard? What is he waiting for?
I don't know. Worries about Soulguard? I mean, it's OCE. Maybe they're worried about the barn tech?
I mean, it's possible. As he was worried about something, as he did kind of got the dead hard out of the David, missed a swing. I think Flip kind of emoted there as if he was ready to go down, but he just didn't. We do still have 2 gens up, so all of the shenanigans we had Saint take a hit, get cleansed. We see a For the People play now from T-Doge, really stopping that tunnel if there was going to be one. We've got Blip at full health here, ready to go on a chase. Unfortunately, the health state not really buying him too much time as he just gets injured again, but he should really be wanting to take the Blight away from this area where we've pretty much spent the whole game queue.
Yeah, we've pretty well spent the entirety of this trial back in this quadrant of the map. Haven't really had a reason to leave, especially once we got the first basement hook and we had the ruin up at that point, and we were still already in the I am kind of concerned, though, simply because we've been sitting on these 4 gens for a while, and when you look across the board now, we're talking about 3 injured survivors. Yeah, it's not an Oni in the sense of the power spike, but it is a Blight in just the sense of they have the mobility to be able to push across the map, and with multiple people potentially having the ability to be, you know, taking a nap on the floor for a little bit. I feel like if we're not seeing the resets, I feel like we should be seeing this 5th gen soon. I don't know how close it is.
Yeah, we are seeing a reset of our survivors. So we're down to 1 gen. We know that we've got another one incredibly close. Our killer Key here able to find the reset and interrupt, start a new chase here as we've now got everyone back up to full health. It wouldn't surprise me, Q, if they're going to try and greed for that gen that was dry kicked just moments ago.
Yeah, and I mean, we are going to see it, like, smart decision here from Key, right? You don't want to spend too much time up here on the main building side. You know the survivors are going to be back here trying to attack this 3-gen. Nice job here to be able to get the tag onto the Claudette. You can hear this generator next to us, though, has quite a bit of progress. It's not going to be too long until that thing pops. I feel like Key, like right now, you almost have to feel like you need at least 1 more hook before getting into the end game. You prefer a hook and maybe even someone injured, honestly.
Yeah, and I think he's really trying to focus on that as he does kind of commit to this chase instead of protecting that gen that, again, so much progression, and it wouldn't surprise me if our survivors, there we go, pop that one right now. And now I think the question is, do they go for this unhook or do they just take the 3?
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine with the 1 door being right there next to where your 3-gen was, I feel like the 3 is the easy decision. But, I mean, who knows, right? If you are feeling confident right now, they should know that the entirety of the build has been exposed, so they should know that there's no end game play. I mean, maybe since there's already a decision, maybe you try and go for one last play here to just build up a little bit of extra, like, momentum for you, since you are going to be going right back out on the survivor side here for the plague set, right?
Yeah, we can kind of see them running in. I think that they've got, you know, Sane's here on his debut performance. We can't let him die on first hook. I think the boys are rolling up.
Yeah, you know, no one left behind. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So we got everyone here. Oh my goodness.
Beautiful body block there, really showing us how to manage that situation. Someone going for the unhook, someone going for the block, but unfortunately it doesn't pay off as we're unable to get a body here for our Nia. Wouldn't surprise me if Toddy's going to come in with a For the People play. No, our killer's not going to allow it. A famous save!
Oh my
there
goodness!
It is. There it is. It doesn't matter that they messed up the body block. They get the Beamer save. Our Nia, unfortunately, not making it too far as we see her back on the floor again. I think that Key's going to have a little bit of PTSD now. He's going to be a little bit scared to pick up. What an action-packed end game.
Yeah, you love to see an end game filled with some action here. Really good save. Unfortunately, wasn't able to find the escort all the way to the exit, but if I had to guess, we are probably going to be seeing a reset here onto the Claudette and then maybe see a 3rd player roll in. We aren't going to be able to see as far as flashlight going to be at least coming in there. It's going to cause the blind. Maybe allow for a quick save right underneath the nose.
Waiting for the icon to change, but it doesn't. I think maybe they were unsure if he was one of those killers that kind of just swings while blinded and still manages to get the hit, but waiting it out. They are on their way to the door. A couple of hits here, a couple of injured states. Can he do it? Can he get someone? I don't think he can.
Swings and misses. You have the body block right there. You have Claudette going to be able to get out the door. 1, 2, 3 into the 4 out the door. Beautiful work from Revolution to be able to pull off the plays in the end game to get all 4 survivors out. Wow, that was impressive.
really, really fun to watch. When you've got a team of experienced survivors, they really know how to respond in a
Hmm.
scenario like that. And I think sometimes the risk of going for that end game save, you just have to take it. And I think that's what we saw from Revolution here. They knew that the risk would be worth it, and they were very confident with their ability to take the 4 out, which is definitely what we saw. So exciting.
Yeah, so that is going to result in Revolution taking set point number 2 here, 41-16. And I mean, you talk about having a very impressive end game like that, and we're going to be seeing the same Survivor Squad back out here again on Azeroth's resting place against whoever A1 is sending out on the Plague. Definitely don't envy whoever that person has to be. Whoever that person's going to be, they're going to have to make sure that they're bringing their A game here. So we will be bringing set number 3 of Revolution and A1 to y'all after a very quick break. All right, let's go ahead and take another trip here back into the fog here on ARP. Gonna be getting down with the sickness here, and it looks like when we talk about ARP, especially when we talk about our gen spawns, it does look like we have a pretty traditional 3-1-3 setup. Sometimes that middle gen can rotate a little bit more up towards one side of the map or the other. Sometimes we will see a fifth one kind of rotate over. Doesn't look like that's quite the case here. Ooh, but wait a minute, do we actually have a little bit? It doesn't matter. We have found a survivor here as far as ace. No, yeah, it is kind of your traditional 3-1-3. That middle gen's actually pretty well right in the middle too. So we're going to see if maybe our killer can take advantage of that here.
Yeah, I'm just doing a bit of an investigation into these add-ons, Q, because we do have something that I don't think we've seen before. So I'm just having a look at what that is. We don't actually have any bans on our add-ons except for ultra rares. So the black incense and the iridescent seal. We are seeing our killer here running the hematite seal, which is 30 seconds longer duration on the infection of objects. So we're going to see the vomit lasting longer on gens, on pallets, on windows, whatever it touches, really. So very, very interesting pick, especially considering that that you've got some other options there in the case of, I guess, infection of objects.
Yeah, I guess maybe your thought process here is, especially like later in the game, if you can play yourself into one of these 3 gen setups, you can kind of slow the game down and force this. There's one of the thing with the Plague that's always intriguing when you watch Plague matchups is the back and forth decision with the survivors. Do we cleanse? Do we over cleanse? Do we not cleanse? If we do cleanse, when do we cleanse? So by having the longer infection on the generators, it will force survivors to more. Do we want to stay sick? Do we want to wait on this gens to get unsick, which takes obviously so much longer now? It could be interesting to see how that strategy plays out. I think more so in like the mid to late game, more so than the early game.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to be dry kicking the gens as well, or forcing regression on the gens, it really kind of puts that survivor in the position of, do I want to stop the regression in order but by getting sick to stop the regression? I think another really good decision to put on our survivors, really putting the pressure on them in the form of kind of playstyle, I guess, there. But we do see our Plague pick up her corrupt power and just kind of monitoring the gens, really looking for someone. But I think Revolution are a little bit too smart and would try and stealth out the power. But we do find an injured survivor just a little bit out of position, maybe working on a gen. Unfortunately, not able to get that hit there. Running through main, really nice lock play, but unfortunately will get hit by the Corrupt Purge and will be seeing our first hook on Team Revolution at 5 gens.
Get behaviored, big boy. Nice hit, though, to be able to get the down at this point. Going to be rotating this hook more top side here. And, you know, when I think more about the strategy here with that extra add-on, right? With the 30 seconds of duration for the sickness on objects. You combine that with the Thanatophobia, kind of filthy, really, if you think about it, in the sense of you can kind of patrol your 3 gen, and they will then really be for you, especially when you talk about, do I want to stop the regression when then I'll start getting sick? Then you speed up the whole process of, do I cleanse? When do I cleanse? And if we talk about maybe a Plague here who has, quite the sniper rifle on him, might be able to make a difference kind of in the late game when you have more of those pools available to you, right?
Yeah, and they're actually using this add-on really nicely as well, as you can kind of see as they go throughout their chase, kind of taking a moment to pause and make sure that they're infecting the gens, knowing full well that they want to get value out of that add-on. Really nicely played so far from our killer. We do see our first gen pop over in the distance. Our survivor will now obviously run to the area, knowing that no one is over there. And it wouldn't surprise me if our survivor team in Revolution start moving down towards the main building to kind of split up the progression on our gens.
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna at least want to head down towards that top side a little bit, maybe even get that middle gen, especially too, with the fact that it's not really rotated one side or the other. Because if you can get one of those top side gens and the middle, you're really set up for the late game scenario here. But we are going to be seeing generator number 2 popping off in the distance. It is the second one over on the shack side of the map, leaving just the shack gen up, and we will notice that the shack gen is actually in the shack itself, so it's located pretty deep back on that side of the map, and we might be talking about that a little bit later here, especially if they can break up the 3 gen here on the bottom or the top side of our map we're looking towards. And we see we've got a survivor. Oh, they weren't hanging out there. We were all tricked. Actually going to be able to build big old distance back here behind main, allows the save across the way. But you'll notice if on that left side here, we're going to be having Lori soon getting fully infected. We're in chase here with the Claudette. Going to start seeing these decisions need to be made. Do we want to cleanse or do we want to say one shot, especially with that extra slowdown?
Yeah, really nice chase here from Sane at the main building. Our Plague choosing just to infect them and then head on out, which once again, a really beautiful way to play Plague, really getting her power used to her fullest potential, making sure that you're getting that Thanatta value, making sure that everybody is injured, really puts the pressure on them being injured all game. We do have a couple of corrupt pools spread out around the map now because of our survivors choosing to cleanse. So wouldn't surprise me now if our Plague picks one up as they chase Blip at this long wall.
We're going to be seen here stepping through there, at least trying to close the distance. We have a second survivor next to us trying to see if maybe they can help create a little bit of a barrier, or at least maybe even take a protection. I think that was the Nia I'd seen, because I don't think it was anybody that was injured. But Lori now going to be throwing that shack pallet, moving up towards the middle of the map. I understand wanting to pull the corrupt purge here at this point, since we're probably not going to be back to this side of the map. But unfortunately, it did allow for plenty of distance to be built by Lori here.
Yeah, we've got... Oh! She kind of jump scared with the pallet. That was a little bit unnecessary on Blip's part. I think that our Plague was just kind of having a look in the general area. I don't think she was actually knowing that Blip was over there. But Blip, unfortunately, getting hit by the Corrupt Purge and will be getting popped up on a hook in the middle of the map. We do see our Revolution survivors, not surprisingly, break up the 3 gen really nicely here. So we do have the shack inside. We do have the shack. We've got the generator inside the killer shack. We've got one over here being looped by
Oh!
who will unfortunately be going down, but we do see Blip get unhooked in the meantime. The last gen popping there, no way out being procced. We're going to see Sane take a hook, and I'm sure we're going to see our Plague go and try and find these survivors to secure some more stages.
Really unfortunate as far as the timing on that hook there. That would have been the 4th and final stack for the No Way Out. However, when we saw that sound notification across the way, 3 stacks meant that there were 48 seconds that these doors couldn't even be worked on. And at this point, we're about 2/3 of the way through that. So with grabbing the power here, I think this is going to be It Is Me just trying to essentially just force out the last couple of stages here. I don't know if you go for the save with these doors being in the position that they're at.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this play from our killer Q. I think that knowing that, No Way Out had so much time, we had 3 stacks there, our survivors couldn't touch it. A couple of them were infected. We could have definitely made it up that side of the map. They would have been stealthing, but there's only so much you can do when you're bright green and coughing everywhere. I think that our killer may be happy with the 3 stages here from the death on Sane, but I definitely think we could have gotten more by going cross map.
Yeah, I think it's one of those risk rewards. I think we had seen a very strong performance here from our survivors, and maybe was worried if we pushed up that way, maybe allowing somebody back behind. But yeah, I think with even when we grabbed the power, right? If you're talking about with the corrupt purge, at that point you were still at like 20 something, like 16, 20 seconds around that you could have pushed up, and maybe at least also if you figure right, if you lose you lose the fresh hook that you camped into the end for one of the other survivors who all were also hooked once, you're still trading out for the same amount of stages at bare minimum. So I think maybe might be something for them to reflect back on here in post match. But we do see as far as the score right now, I mean A1 keeping it close, 15 to Revolution's 16. I think overall still a pretty solid performance from the Plague here, right?
Yeah. I mean, that many stages on Team Revolution. I
Yeah.
think it was really, really well done. Very close game, and I think well played on both sides. But definitely excited to see who's going to be the Plague for Revolution, and can they outdo the performance from A1? I'm excited to see the add-on choice and the playstyle that we go with here, because I think Plague in competitive is just so versatile. There's so many different ways that you can play her, and I think that's what makes her so exciting to watch for me.
Yeah, I know as far as for me, I just really like watching. It's not quite the same like power spike as like say like an Oni who has also the ability to traverse the map. But when you talk about when people are especially usually staying sick in her power, I love watching her as well. So I can't wait to see. It looks like we've got Blip loading in here, going to be loading in. So I'm excited to see how they're going to respond here. We will be back with trial number 6 after a very quick break. All right, let's go ahead and take another trip here back into the fog, back on Azerov's resting place here in a 16 to 15 game here between A1 and Revolution. We are going to be seeing Blip out on the Plague, able to find a survivor relatively early. We do see already got the infection all the way to the one-shot down potential here on the Nia, able to catch the Nia out of position. We're already talking about it down at the 45-second mark.
Yeah, and Plague was Revolution's pick. When I saw Blip kind of come in to play the Plague, I was a little bit concerned. I haven't seen Blip on Plague before. We know that he's an incredible nurse. We know he's an incredible survivor. So he's got the experience on both sides. He's got the game sense. He knows what to do, where to go. But does he have the mechanical skill on the Plague? By looking at this so far, I think it's safe to say yes. Yes, he does.
Yeah, we've got a good start here. Now you're going to get some big information here as well from the Rancor, as we do see generator number 1 getting complete. We're also going to be seeing Blip going for the first pool here. We do, of course, have the additional pool brought into the two additional pools already corrupted thanks to the blessed apple. So we're going to pick one of those, and we are going to have a little bit longer power duration than we had seen in the last trial thanks to that purple amulet down there. So we are going to be seeing Blip breaking down this main building, breaks down this tile a little bit. Going to see if we can maybe try and catch this survivor out of position, get 2 quick taps, or I guess only 1 quick tap, because it looks like this is our injured survivor, and get another hook here.
Yeah, I think Blip's play there was to pick up the corrupt purge and maybe go on camp for a little bit, but our survivor team in A1 said, no, we'll be taking this unhook while your back is turned, thank you. Blip getting another down there quite quickly with an unfortunate play on the pallet, is able to find another survivor, full health over here. We'll be looking for the tag for the Thanata stack, in my opinion. I think he's definitely going to go for that one. Really nicely played, knowing when to pull up the vomit, when not to. Beautiful dodge there by Ace, forcing him a bit of distance here, but unfortunately not being able to make it too far as he does go down as well. That is now two survivors that are kind of unable to do anything. One's slugged, one's on a hook, one is fully injured. We do see the pickup right in our face. Straight back down again.
Yeah, I honestly can't wait to watch that last one back, the play over with the pallet throw, because I'm pretty sure we actually saw a little bit of the corrupt purge actually hit the pallet itself. I just can't wait to see that. Ran back. It was like pixel perfect for the dodge. Unfortunately, couldn't buy too much additional time. And it, as you talked about, bought just enough time for our survivor, Adam, to rotate over. Couldn't get Nia much distance off the ground, though. So now we've got 2 hooks back to back here, and this is going to be extremely tough for a save here, especially seeing as Adam is already injured. Might require for Adam to cleanse. That does give another one of those pulls over to Blip here. It does actually look like we've had the Dwight be able to sneak in behind us. So we're going to see the progression towards that full infection stage here as they go. Night. Oh, I thought had been able to swing to block off the window. Not quite going to be able to do it is Blip here, but they are just counting out the 15 seconds for that borrowed time. Now going to be able to get the down here before moving into the TNL.
Yeah, really. Excuse me, really nice down there on the knee of someone else showing themselves. That's going to be 2 down at the same TL now. Again, we kind of spoke about newer teams and positioning being one of the things that's very, very important, almost like a fundamental. And I think if there's one thing that our Survivor team in A1 can take away, it's that positioning is definitely proving to be quite difficult for them, as they seem to be getting caught out quite a lot during these games, as unfortunately now Blip's in a really good spot, having that slug and a hook really close together.
Yeah, and I mean, we're talking about being able to keep an eye literally on your hook. No buddy around, unfortunately, for the pallet save here. So once again, Blip going to be looking at having hooks basically looking at one another. I think we had another survivor looming in the shadows around here. Yeah, able to at least get the save before you have the back-to-back hooks, but that is an elimination now. Moving into a 3v1 before a second generator is complete. And you had mentioned it, right? Just a couple of small mistakes in positioning can make such a big difference, because it then really puts so much more pressure into Blip's hands. And when we talk about giving that pressure over to really any of these killers that we've seen today from Revolution, they're definitely going to make you punish, or they're definitely going to punish you for it, right?
Yeah, 100%. Especially with Plague, I think positioning is so important, especially if you're injured or you're sick and affected by that illness. It's just so risky to be anywhere near her when she's either got her corrupt purge, or when she's kind of confirming stages, which is what we're going to expect in comp. And I think looking at Blip's performance here once again, just like the games with Saint, very much in control, very much aware of what he needs to do, and definitely playing for the win here for Team Revolution.
And now at this point, kind of just get to kind of monitor this choke point, right? I mean, you know where one of your survivors is. Doesn't look like we've seen anybody cleansing yet, so they should be able to give a little bit of information to you. If you happen to get close, you should be able to hear them. But it is the Dwight and the Adam at this point. I'm kind of intrigued to, like, I understand there's usually this whole, like, I mentioned it earlier, right? Like this back and forth of, do I cleanse, do I not cleanse? Full send, get the gen done. What?
Have a DC there. I'm not quite sure if we can get someone to just go and check and make sure that everything's okay there with A1. We'll have a quick look at what's going on and what happens with that DC. But we do have Dwight now in chase, last survivor standing. He will be making his way to main as Blip is quickly in pursuit. Unfortunately, taking it down right at main. Really beautiful shot by Blip there. But you said it though, Q. There's such a stigma around cleansing, really, isn't there? And I think a lot of people don't cleanse just because it's the assumption, right? You don't cleanse against a plague, but after it changes and with the perks that are available to you and the add-ons that are being used, I mean, it's 100 points, right? I just do it. I don't want to be green and glowing, but we will see that regardless of the decisions made by our survivors to cleanse or not. What resolution are you watching it in, Q?
Man, I'm not sure what resolution they're watching in, but that definitely looks like a 4K to me, wrapping things up early here with a nice decision. Revolution wrapping up set number 3, 38-17. And I know that you had mentioned to me before, Barn, about Revolution coming back and them being the OGs, but they're looking really, really impressive thus far in the season.
Yeah, I think with the addition of Sane, a more recent kind of player, he's certainly been a nice warm welcome to the team. It's been insane watching him play really wonderful games tonight, and it's nice seeing the boys back and seeing that they're not washed, they're not rusty. They can come out of retirement and be just as good as they were back in 2020. It's also really nice as well to see a newer team, A1, fight the whole night against it. We saw really nice performances on Killer. They should be very proud of their progress and their ability to make it through the whole night. And I definitely look forward to seeing more of their gameplay.
If you ain't show something, you just don't wanna be. You wanna be me, but you will never be as fresh as CUE.